Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 16 of From the Studio. I'm your host, Corey Riggs, welcoming you inside our MC22 studio, and happy to be with all of you once again. On this week's show, we turn our attention to St. Louis for a visit with Erica Weston as she prepares for the return of Major League Baseball and the National Hockey League. She covers both following the St. Louis Cardinals and the St. Louis Blues for Fox Sports Midwest. A little bit later, we will catch up with a very busy man. Gerald Andrews is the executive director of the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame and is in charge of the upcoming Corn Ferry Tour stop at Highland Springs as we prepare for one of the crown jewels on the summer sports schedule in Southwest Missouri, the annual Price Cutter Charity Championship. If you like our show, please let us know on social media. We're open to suggestions on topics to tackle or guests to have on. You can find us on Twitter at FromTheStudio22. We'd love to hear from you. Stay tuned. Erica Weston joins us from the studio after this.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
As COVID-19 impacts our community, Metro Appliances and More continues to serve you. Although our showroom is closed, our business is open. Live chat on our website or call the store and speak to an appliance expert. Metro Appliances and More is committed to serving you safely. Even in uncertain times, Blue Current remains open to serve you. At Blue Current, almost all services can be completed from your mobile device in the safety of your own home. Visit our website for details or download our app. Blue Current is committed to building better communities together.
Welcome back to From the Studio on MC22, everybody. We are now joined by one of the talented broadcasters and journalists that make up the team of Fox Sports Midwest in St. Louis that cover the St. Louis Cardinals and the St. Louis Blues. She's been doing it since 2018 in the Lou. She is Erica Weston. Erica, thank you for taking the time to talk to us today.
Anytime. Thank you so much for having me, Corey. We are anticipating talking about real live sports, so this is a very good day.
I know. I even find myself self-clapping now. It's so exciting to know that we're just a couple of weeks away from Major League Baseball starting, a couple of weeks away from the return of the NHL and their pause season. So everything finally starting to get what sports fans need and have been clamoring for this entire pandemic. Before we get into the Cardinals and the Blues, though, maybe start with a little bit about you. You've been with Fox Sports Midwest the last 2 years, but everybody that works in sports broadcasting and journalism knows it's a windy road to get where you want to go. How did you get started in the business?
So, I'll try to make it as succinct as possible because it's a very complicated story, as is many people's journeys to where they actually end up. There is no, whenever people ask me for advice about how to get where I got, there's no one right answer to do it, right? So I was not somebody at 2-3 years old who saw a news anchor on television and thought that that was something I wanted to do someday. I was a competitive dancer, so that was my sport essentially. So I grew up in Denver, Colorado. I was a dancer my entire life and became part of the organization as a Denver Broncos cheerleader, which essentially you are an ambassador to the organization. So in doing that, it kind of grew my respect for being an ambassador with a sports team. So in turn, I kind of transferred or translated my performance aspect into reporting because you have to be a sports fan, and obviously we are. So that was sort of how it got started out. I did eventually move to Los Angeles to live out my dream of being a Los Angeles Laker girl. And in my time in LA, I was able to, network, get an internship at the local CBS affiliate there, turn that into a production assistant job, got small gigs on the side in Los Angeles before I did eventually land a full-time on-air job in Tucson, Arizona, weekend sports anchor, reporting during the week, getting your feet wet with some of these collegiate teams, everything in Tucson is about Arizona basketball. You can't even go 5 minutes without talking about the Wildcats. So, and then you get a dose of the pro teams just being 2 hours down the road from the Phoenix Cardinals, the Arizona Cardinals, and the Diamondbacks up there as well, and the Suns. So we all needed a taste of that. But there was no right way to do it. It took me a long time. I was behind the scenes for a long time, probably longer than most people normally do before they end up in their dream job. And being with Fox Sports Midwest is certainly a dream. It was a dream to be with a regional sports network and covering, the teams in the region, be it the Cardinals and the Blues. And I did contribute a little bit my first year with the Pacers and Indy as well. So that's as short of a story as I can make it for all the time that we have. But, the thing I tell people is don't follow anybody else's journey, because the way you're doing it is going to be the right way for you.
I completely get that. Well, you bring up the Cardinals and the Blues, two very different situations that these franchises find themselves in. The Cardinals have been struggling a little bit the last couple of years, maybe just because of the lofty expectations their fan base has every year. The Blues coming off the biggest moment in franchise history. They're the defending Stanley Cup champions. But you're talking about a Cardinals organization like the rest of Major League Baseball that never started their season. They barely even got that deep into spring training. The Blues, the NHL, played almost all the way through, completed their regular season. Now they're both coming back to play at the same time. Which do you think is the more odd situation to jump into, the delayed start and the very abrupt season the Major League Baseball is going to have, or that 4 months off and then jumping into the playoffs if you're a hockey fan?
I think the hockey scenario is probably the most complex and most complicated. I think there are certain teams that will certainly benefit, the Blues being one of them. I think there will be teams that are affected by this long layoff, but this is, with the Blues officially starting their camps yesterday, in speaking with some of them, this is a very weird scenario for them, because they're essentially training as if they were returning to the season in the fall, except we didn't even finish the season. So now we are in the middle of July. The Blues are still the reigning Stanley Cup champions. Nobody's ever experienced this. This is a very unique scenario. So I do think that it's going to be easier for the Cardinals to start things up again. I think the Blues face a little bit more of a challenge, but I have a strong feeling that the Blues, with the additions of Vladimir Tarasenko getting healthy and being activated off of injured reserve, and the rest factor, I think that will benefit them as they move towards their return to play at the beginning of August.
Well, getting Vlad Tarasenko back, obviously a big deal. When you look at this resumption of play in the NHL, is there maybe anything more important between knocking the rust off, dealing with possible losses of players because of COVID-19, than depth right now? Everybody talks about talent, everybody talks about experience, but in this situation, is maybe depth the single most important thing a franchise could have?
Probably, because you don't really know what to anticipate as you return to play, because you're going to have to be dealing with the health of a player as far as their physicality. Hockey is a very physical sport. These guys are returning to their game shape, and that is not easy to do as far as hockey is concerned. But you're talking about their health in terms of, we're still in the middle of a pandemic, so everything is heightened as far as the health is concerned. But the Blues have something to their advantage that maybe some of these other teams don't have. They were working towards that chemistry towards the end of the regular season. The Blues have established that long ago. So when Craig Berube was talking with the media when things were starting to ramp up, that was something that all of these players were talking about in terms of, we've got that. So as long as we don't miss a beat when we get back onto the ice in a competitive way, they're in much better shape than I think maybe some of these other teams that are at the bottom of the standings of the teams that are going to be included in this return to play.
The Blues return to action August 2nd against the Colorado Avalanche. You brought up Vladimir Tarasenko. That was big news in St. Louis, and for Blues fans to know that he's back. The Cardinals got bad news this week. Jordan Hicks, their flame-throwing relief pitcher, a type 1 diabetic, announces he is going to opt out of the 60-game shortened season. Where does that land the Cardinals bullpen? Right now it seems like the Cardinals have got a lot of starters, but the bullpen's maybe a little thin.
Yeah, so the Cardinals do, on paper right now, seemingly seem to be short some arms in that bullpen, but I don't think anybody can fault Jordan Hicks for deciding to opt out, considering those pre-existing health conditions and the fact that he was not necessarily going to be ready to return from that elbow surgery he had last summer when things resume here next week. Now, because of that pre-existing health condition, the type 1 diabetic that Hicks is, his rehab is essentially a little bit differently because they don't know how the blood flow is going to heal the area. So his rehab system, or the program that they had him on, was essentially elongated. So they were trying to work with how his body was going to be responding healing wise. So, but you take that in consideration. We've got a couple guys with their second positive COVID test that are still unable to be with the team and participating in summer camp. We have travel issues with Giovanni Gallegos, still unsure about what that's going to look like. Yeah, it does seem that the Cardinals bullpen, which essentially was going to be their strength coming into this shortened season, might have some question marks. But the good news is that because it's a shortened season, you do have guys that are experienced in the back end, as far as Ryan Helsley, Andrew Miller, and Carlos Martinez, who will likely slide into that closer role. But because you have an excess in starting arms, you can easily slide those guys to get some help in the bullpen on the days that you might need it.
Yeah, it looked like Carlos really kind of wanted to get back into that starting role, but with everything that's going on, you know you've got him, Mike Schultz, in a very good situation to know that he can call on him to take on that closer role, and the man could throw gas. There's no doubt about that. So that'll be fun to wait for and see. Continuing on with baseball, obviously I'm here in Springfield. Springfield very proud of the fact that the AA affiliate for the St. Louis Cardinals, the Springfield Cardinals, are here. Springfield's been named the home for the taxi squad. How do you see, or does anybody up there really have a guess as to how that's going to work? Taxi squad was really a football term that wasn't really something you ever had to do in baseball. The only thing I'm really 100% sure of is there is a ton of talent getting ready to hang out in Springfield while the big club starts the season.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's not like many people in Springfield will get to see a lot of those, and as far as games are concerned, or practices, or scrimmage, or what have you. But I think it's great to have them just down the road. I'm not entirely sure what other teams' plans are, how close they're going to have them, but to be honest, we have not heard much about what that taxi squad situation is going to look like. I think it was an ideal situation to have their affiliate just down the road. But to be honest, there's not been a lot of dialogue about what that's going to look like. I think that is still maybe a bit of a fluid situation as far as Major League Baseball is concerned. They do have expanded rosters to begin the season. As a couple weeks in, they'll start to dwindle things down to their allotted player total. But I think the Springfield situation and all the other affiliates for Major League Baseball, that's going to be kind of a wait and see situation, how that's going to pan out, especially when you take into consideration the health factor. And I'm not talking about injuries, I'm talking about COVID-19 positive tests. So I think that's certainly going to be a fluid situation moving forward.
Erica, before we let you go, if folks are fans of the Cardinals and the Blues, fans of yours, they want to follow your work, how can they follow along with you on social media?
I do most of my social media stuff on my Instagram page, erica.weston. My Twitter page, Erica L. Weston, is more news and notes and things like that. But if you want to do some behind the scenes, anything like that, it's erica.weston. That's where you can find me.
All right, well, enjoy the conclusion of the preview shows and get ready for the games. We will all be watching.
Thank you so much for having me, Corey. Appreciate it.
No, our pleasure. Erica Weston, everybody. We'll be back with more from the studio here in just a minute.
In every community, young people are proving their abilities to lead through accomplishment in the classroom and beyond. At Mediacom, we're proud to recognize these outstanding individuals by awarding world-class scholarships. By investing in these young leaders and their educations, we believe that we're creating a more promising future for everyone. Congratulations to each and every winner. Mediacom, powering the future.
from the Studio now continues here on MC22, and we turn our attention now to the sport of golf. We told you off the top of the show, one of the crown jewels in the sports schedule every summer is the Price Cutter Charity Championship. The man behind us joins us now. Gerald Andrews is with us here on From the Studio. Gerald, how are you, sir?
Well, hanging in there. It's a busy time, of course, and we've already had one activity this week. We had our advanced meeting yesterday with the PGA officials. Tonight is the Bryan Properties Nighttime Golf Classic out of Fremont Hills. And then this coming Friday will be the Bobby and Betty Allison Junior Pro-Am, and from there it's 10 full days of activity.
Yeah, people probably don't realize there are so many events surrounding this one that it's not just about 4 days of golf, July 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 26th. With all of that going on, how are preparations going at Highland Springs for the course and the professional play?
Well, the course is in great shape, and the superintendent and his staff's done a wonderful job getting the course ready to go. But no matter what they do, I'm sure these guys will come in here and just butcher it, and probably a winner will shoot 20 plus under, which just seems incredible to my game at least. But the course is in wonderful shape. It's going to look a lot different this year. Of course, most people won't see it, but no tents, or virtually no tents, no roping. So it's just going to be a different look completely than what it has been.
Well, you mentioned that, and obviously the plan all along had been that there was a lot of excitement, as there is every year around this event, but it was looking like the Price Cutter Charity Championship was going to be the first Korn Ferry Tour event to have fans. Then it looked like it was going to be the first PGA Tour event of any kind to have fans, and then all of a sudden we found out last week that wouldn't be the case. Can you walk us through that?
I can. Our folks have worked diligently over the last few weeks and even few months in preparation to what we felt like would be the first event back with spectators in attendance. We had been working hand in hand with the Greene County Department of Health, and they'd given us a thumbs up and signed off on the plan and all the protocols that our team had put in place for the event. And then a week ago Monday, the PGA Tour did announce that they were not going to have fans at the Memorial in Dublin, Ohio this current week. And we were concerned then that that might trickle down to us. And by Tuesday afternoon, it had not only trickled down, but fallen on top of us. And we started having exchanges at that time with the tour about their decision to not allow fans to attend. Safety is foremost for the tour, for their members, and for us as well. The worst thing that can happen is for us to have some type of an outbreak or a spike in COVID illness following the tour being here, and that's the last thing they would want to see happen. They were continually talking about, whatever happens in Springfield is going to have a direct impact upon the rest of this season's tour, and so they were very concerned about that. So the decision was made to not allow spectators in. At the same time, there's still lots of precautionary measures being taken related to the event itself. In spite of not having spectators, we will be the first event back that will have Pro-Ams here at Highland Springs. And we have one next Monday and one next Wednesday as well. And to participate in a Pro-Am, you must be tested for COVID-19. That testing will start taking place here at the Hall of Fame at noon this coming Friday, and we'll go through Monday morning at 11 a.m. You do have to have a negative result back before you'll be allowed to participate in the Pro-Am. We will have volunteers that'll be helping us with the Pro-Ams and the tournament itself. Every day when they enter the Highland Springs security gate over here, they will be temp checked at that time. There'll be a second temp check at the clubhouse in Highland for Highland members and for others that might have access to the clubhouse, and you'll have your temperature checked there as you go in as well. So several things like that are still going to be in place in spite of, once again, not having spectators. Most of our other events will be taking place. As I mentioned, we have an activity beginning on Friday. On Friday evening is the ultimate banquet when we give away a new Corvette each year. On Saturday and Sunday, we'll be at Ledgestone for Pro-Ams. Monday, we're back here at Highland. On Tuesday, we have a Pro-Am at Buffalo Ridge, the Silver Dollar City event. Also on Tuesday, we'll be at Millwood for the Betty Allison Women's Pro-Am. And that evening will be our annual golf ball and charity auction presented by CPI Technologies. That will be at the Doubletree Hotel Convention Center this year. And looking forward to that. And then Wednesday is the Price Cutter Pro-Am. And then Thursday through Sunday, of course, will be the professional play, the professional tournament itself.
Well, I know there's a lot of golf fans that wish they could go out and see it in person, but what I always try to remind people this time of year is while the pro golf is great, this is an event that has always been about the kids. It's about the children's charities that benefit from this event. With all the other peripheral events going on, the Pro-Ams, the golf ball charity event, there are still ways that people can make sure and help children's charities in the Ozarks through the Price Cutter Charity Championship.
That is correct, and we really want to emphasize that. Obviously, we're hopeful that sponsors will stay with us. We know that many of the sponsorships do not have the value without spectators that they would have. And I fully understand that. And if sponsors are out there and they want a refund of their sponsorship fee, we're going to work through that with them and give them a refund. At the same time, there are many things that cannot happen without spectators that benefit our charities very directly. They typically, the charities will typically sell about 1,500 sweepstakes tickets during tournament week. A sweepstakes ticket is $25. That's a chance on one of 500 prizes. It's also a chance on a $10,000 cash prize and a new 2020 Toyota Tundra pickup truck as well. And that program is continuing. Charities are trying to sell tickets. We have a total of 8,000 of those that we can sell, and they've sold about 4,500 thus far. So if you've got a favorite charity and you want to buy a sweepstakes ticket from them, every ticket they sell, they net $25 off of. We have other raffles that are taking place. I mentioned the Ultimate program where we give away the 2020 Corvette this Friday night. We have 3 of those chances left, and those are $1,200 a piece, but we only sell 100. So you have a 1 in 100 chance of winning a new Corvette, or a 1 in 10 chance of winning a $1,000 prize through that program as well. For the second year, we're doing a week stay at a large vacation home in Mexico. It's a 6-week facility, sleeps 12 people.
Wow.
So 6 couples could take that week-long vacation. We sell 300 of those chances. They're $100 a piece. And we've sold about 100 as of today, so we got a couple hundred of those left to sell. And you might say, well, why? Well, once again, it's the net money for charity. That's what it's about. And we do have that ability, and would like to sell as many of those chances as we can to bring as much money to the bottom line for the charities as possible. The charities are just like all of us in that they've had to cancel and postpone other activities that they raise support through each year. And they were really counting on the tournament kind of bailing them out for this year. And this is a real setback. So we'll still raise some money, but nothing like we have been over the last 30 years.
Well, hopefully all of this is temporary, as I know we've been hoping that for months. One more thing before I let you go. There has been a lot of interest surrounding the fact that it was reported that Tony Romo was going to get a sponsor's exemption and compete in this event. A lot of people watched him on TV last weekend playing with the likes of Travis Kelce, Pat Mahomes, Marty Fish. Saw him get his wrist injured. Is he still going to make the trip to Springfield?
As of today, he is still planning on being here on Monday. We did have direct contact with him, and he indicated his wrist was sore, but he thought he was going to be able to play without any difficulty. One of his best friends on the tour, Will Zalaus, won 2 weeks ago in Colorado, and he said, "Hey, I'm coming up. I'm going to show him how to play here in Springfield." So we're looking forward to seeing that little competition going on. But it'll be fun to have him here. Once again, there was a lot of excitement about his coming. He is playing in an unrestricted exemption spot, and I'm hopeful that he'll have a good enough experience here, and he'll want to come back again next year too. So we'll try to make that happen for 2021, when hopefully things are back to normal and we'll have spectators back out here at Highland Springs.
Well, fans or no fans, mask or no mask, I look forward to bumping into you out on the course as we do every year. It's always a fun event. We love to cover it. Gerald Andrews from the Price Cutter Charity Championship. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll be back and wrap up from the studio here in just a minute.
At Orange Leaf, we're still swirling, just doing it a little different. Both Springfield Orange Leaf locations are open, offering crew serve carryouts, party box catering, curbside pickup, and delivery. At Orange Leaf, we're all about making life sweeter.
Kevin here once again for Seeger Toyota of St. Robert. Our service department still has drop-off and pickup available after hours, and pickup and delivery for you locally if you need assistance. We will make sure your vehicle is sanitized before being returned to you as well. That's from your friends at Seeger Toyota of St. Robert. We are here for you.
Hi, I'm Judy Ballou, your host for Dishing It Up. I invite you to join me every week as we watch some of the Ozarks' favorite chefs come into the demonstration kitchen at Metro Appliances and More and prepare some of their favorite dishes.
This is fun for TV. You do sweet and savory together all the time. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's fabulous.
Yeah.
Watch Dishing It Up on channel 722 in high definition.
That will about do it for this episode of From the Studio. Remember, you can follow this show on Twitter at From the Studio 22, or you can follow me at Corey Riggs TV. If you've got an idea for a topic or a guest, please send it our way. We'll try to have them on an upcoming show. Before we go, just another word about the Price Cutter Charity Championship. I've had the privilege of covering this event on our network for over 20 years now. I look forward to it every summer. With that being said, it will be a very different event without fans. I consider myself lucky as a fan of sports to have the job that I do in covering events like this one. I know most golf fans in the Ozarks want to be there. They want to walk the course, but we just aren't there yet. So please remember that right here on MC22, we will bring you our Price Cutter Charity Championship Golf Show, presented once again by Children's Smile Center. Don West, our crew, and I will be there for all 4 days of the tournament to bring you extended highlights, interviews with some of the top golfers, and some of the charities that benefit from the event, as well as the daily leaderboard and more. That show will air each night on this station at 8 p.m. and again at 10 p.m., so mark that down and we'll do our best to keep you up on all the happenings at Highland Springs. Our final thank yous for this show go out to our guests, Erica Weston from Fox Sports Midwest, and Gerald Andrews from the Price Cutter Charity Championship. And as always, thanks to all of you for watching. Until next time, for our MC22 crew, I'm Corey Riggs saying so long from the studio.